Avalanche, A Romantic Suspense. Peril in the Park, Book 1. Written by Gayla K. Hiss. Narrated by Michael W. Cahill. Chapter 1. Fireworks exploded across the dark sky, but Jenny Snowfeather hardly noticed. The news about the cabin break-in had cast a shadow over her brother's 4th of July barbecue. She'd suspected a bear at first, until she learned 2 hunting rifles and ammo had been stolen, along with food and blankets. A bright flash startled her. "Watch out!" a man cried as the stray spark moved toward her like a small meteor. She spun around to escape, slamming right into the man and his plate of barbecued chicken. He grabbed her, stumbled, and pulled her with him to the ground. A second later, the blazing miniature rocket whizzed over their heads and crashed into the lawn only a few feet away. She squeezed her eyes shut at the near miss. When she opened them, Jenny found herself face to face with the handsome stranger. His large brown eyes stared back in surprise. Her gaze traveled to his arm, sheltering her body. Quickly, he withdrew it and rolled over, raising himself to his elbows. "That was a close one. Are you okay?" She sat up and lightly brushed the grass from her blue sweater and faded jeans. "Other than a few grass stains, I'm fine." Glancing back at him, she noticed the food plastered to his chest and smiled. "But you're not." When she leaned over to flick the remnant of baked beans from his white cotton shirt, her eyes zeroed in on the holstered Glock beneath his jacket. She drew back. "Look, I don't know who you are or why you're here, but nobody comes to my brother's 4th of July party packing a gun." He glanced at the exposed weapon on his belt and pulled his jacket over it. "I can explain." She scrambled to her feet. "Save it for Deputy Patterson. I'll go get him." As she turned away, he jumped up. "Wait, Jenny. Let me explain." His voice was low and insistent. "How does he know my name?" "Are you okay, Jenny?" Billy Norton stood nearby with his grunge-style stringy hair, Nirvana t-shirt, and baggy jeans. Concern shrouded his freckled face. The tall stranger wrapped his arm around her before she could respond. "She's fine. Aren't you, Jen?" He smiled at her, as if they were sharing a private joke. His bold move stunned her, and what was up with the familiar way he addressed her? No one called her Jen except her father and brother. His disarming smile diffused her temper long enough to notice he was not much older than she, probably in his late 20s. Black, wavy hair framed his tan, chiseled face. Like dark mirrors, his eyes flashed, pleading for her not to give him away. She paused, then shifted her gaze to her old friend. "It's okay, Billy." The crimson stain on the man's shirt captured Billy's attention. "What happened to you?" The stranger glanced at his chest and returned a wry grin. Head-on collision with a plate of barbecued chicken." Billy looked at Jenny. "Are you sure you're okay with this guy?" The man met her scrutinizing stare with an affectionate squeeze and a wink. She flinched, but the boyish gleam in his eye and his playful smile sparked her curiosity and overruled her better judgment. "Yes, I'm fine, Billy. Go on back to the party now. Don't worry about me." As soon as Billy left, she turned and confronted the mystery man. "Okay, the show's over. Now get your hands off me or you'll wish you were packing more than that Glock." He complied, removing his arm from her shoulder. "Sorry, I guess I got a little carried away." Despite his tough masculinity, he looked like a boy caught stealing a piece of candy. She put her hands on her hips. "All right, out with it. Who are you, and why did you bring a gun to my brother's barbecue?" "I'm Chase Matthews, a friend of your brother Joel." He extended his hand, which she ignored. "Funny, I didn't know my brother had any friends. Did you come here to shoot him?" She narrowed her eyes. "And how do you know who I am?" "Joel has pictures of you around the house. I recognized your face." She glared at him, unconvinced. He smiled. "Ah, you're still wondering about the gun. Let's start over. I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Chase Matthews." He took out his ID and handed it to her. The encircled 5-point star emblem appeared authentic enough. She scrutinized his face, comparing it with the one in the photo, a perfect match. Satisfied, she returned his badge to him. Why all the secrecy?